We usually sat along the first baseline. They were just plain seats, no bags or anything, just and the same people always used to sit around together. We're real friendly.
We have a very special person who's here today. Her name is Christine Hunkewitter, who will be, in 2 weeks, 97 years old. Here's the windup, here's the pitch. Go!
Take me out to Wahconah, take me out to the park. Of all the old parks, well, it's still the best. I don't care if it does face the west, and it's right in beautiful Pittsfield, where baseball first.
I think Wahconah Park is a really important part of our community. It's part of our history. It's a very special park. It's very personal. It feels real hometown. It feels like you're part of something instead of in something that's really big and new and impersonal. Wahconah Park has character.
It's one of the few parks built in America where the batter's box faces west. Of course, it's one of the attractions of Wahconah Park. There's not too many others like this. It's something all of us that have played here in the past have experienced. I know that I personally have on more than one occasion. What happens is the sun starts going down in the area of 7:30. It shines right in the batter's eyes, and the game has to be called as a result of sun. So it makes it a very interesting place to play ball. Where else in America is a game called because of sun? Usually you're waiting for the sun to start a ball game or to play in a game. But here at Wahconah Park, it's called. It won't last too long. It's only going to be about it generally goes about 10 minutes at the most, and it looks now like the batter's box is pretty well engulfed with shadows, so I think we'll be out there within a couple of minutes.
Does the park still have baseball in its future?
Absolutely. I mean, to me it does, and I don't know what that future is going to be. It's never going to be a AA baseball park again. It doesn't meet the standards as far as being big enough and being able to generate the revenue that it takes to justify someone paying several $1 million for a AA team and playing it here. That's not going to be the future. But there's so many different types of baseball being played now that weren't being played 30 years ago. Independent league baseball, collegiate leagues, and things like that. And the people in this kind of a community in Pittsfield, I don't think it really matters whether they're watching the Pittsfield AA Red Sox or whether they're watching a collegiate team. The people get behind the players, whatever level it is, and they appreciate it, whether it's coming out to watch the high school team or eventually whether it's a collegiate team that plays here, kind of like the collegiate teams down in Cape Cod, how the communities get behind them, or whether it's an independent league of professional players who aren't affiliated with major league teams. It definitely has a future in that regard, and I don't think there's any doubt that the community would, provided it's the right ownership group that markets it correctly in the community, and I think done that way, the community will appreciate that and follow it and stay behind this ballpark.
Game's changed a little bit since we last talked. They took a couple of points off of the scoreboard. They had 11 runs up there in that last inning. They really didn't have 11, they had 9. But you know, we're the senators out here, figuring that we're politicians. It was not a bad idea to add a little bit to our score now and then, but it was going the wrong direction for Hartford. Now we're doing better. It's 2-9, and I think our team's going to come back and do very, very well.
Well, we have a band that our history goes back to 1936. Not quite as old as what's been going on here. It's just wonderful to be a part of something like this. It's a wonderful drawing card. It's a tradition. We've had minor league baseball in town for so many years, and it's a wonderful structure. I mean, it's not one of these things that you want to tear down and build something new. There's history involved. It's important.
I go back with Wahconah Park to when I was a child, living about 4 blocks away from here, close enough to be able to look out over the intervening streets and see the flagpole at Wahconah Park, which told me whether the game was on or off. The fact that the game was scheduled and the sun was shining didn't mean anything, because the likelihood that the field would be flooded by the Housatonic River was very great at that time. After growing up around the corner here, I later went on to become mayor of Pittsfield, and was happy to be able to have as one of my accomplishments the construction of the present grandstand. The president of the team at that time was Paul Tamburillo, who was a very prominent local lawyer, later became city solicitor in my administration, and after that, Superior Court judge. I was sitting with Paul in this grandstand, and I don't know whether it's this grandstand or the old one, the night that Al Rosen reported for duty, having been assigned by Cleveland to Pittsfield. And Al, of course, went on to have a great career with the Cleveland Indians.
I came back to Pittsfield in 1958 to become the supervisor of arts, music, and theater for the public schools in Pittsfield. That particular point in time, Pittsfield was going to celebrate its bicentennial. We decided to produce Oklahoma, which became a landmark in theater history in Pittsfield. The original idea was to have a production on the front steps of Pittsfield High School. The enthusiasm was so great and the casting became so large that the only place that would accommodate a musical was Wahconah Park.
Right in World War II. And in World War II they used to be here. Used to come down here, Armistice Day. It was the biggest day in town, Pittsfield High, St. Joe High games. You used to sit in there with hay, bales of hay there. Big game, cold. That's Wahconah Park.